Cheers.
I figured you probably wouldn't recognize us without a glass of wine in our hands.
Yeah.
So we'll start with that.
Welcome to our question and answer session. For those of you that actually put a question through, we appreciate it. We actually had some, pretty good questions, and
We're gonna just try and make it through all of them.
Yeah. Now, if you didn't get to see our questions, or the fact that we're doing a Q&A, definitely check out our Instagram at Cruising with Paul and Lex. It is right here. Somewhere on the screen probably. And follow us on Instagram, and I guess we'll just get to it. So we did have, like I said, some great questions.
Let's try
Lex
and go
has them
through
all
these.
here.
So some of them are going to be left anonymous, and others we're going to put your username in, so that we give everybody a little shout out to whoever had asked us a question. How do I pull this up? Okay, let's start with, back to the first time I asked the round of questions. Okay, so I think
our first
it was
question.
this question would be the first. So from the username MV_hoppy_hour asked.
So MV Hoppy Hour, thank you for your question.
They asked, what made y'all want to switch to the trawler lifestyle?
So we wanted to switch to the trawler lifestyle. I guess basically when it came to the boats, we just wanted something that had a little more space. So we originally were intending to switch to a flybridge boat, which I had before, but I've always just kind of dreamed of a trawler. So after looking at boats online and whatnot, we went to look at, I think it was an Egg Harbor, and did not fall in love with that boat.
No.
So then just out of curiosity, we found Paradiso, which is our current boat, not on Kijiji, on a brokerage website.
Yeah.
So we went to look at it without necessarily the intention of buying it, but more just kind of to see what the layout was like. And as soon as we got on it, this one over here got really excited. Her eyes lit up, kind of like the first time she ever saw me. So I recognized the glimmer in her eyes really quick.
Yeah.
And
I was persistent. I was like, we're buying this. We're getting it. There's no option. I fell in love. It's a beautiful boat.
Yeah.
I'm
So
excited.
So, I guess it was the layout more or less, but then from the economical standpoint, again, I don't know if you can follow our Instagram or not, but we did, I think it was 105 miles after we bought the boat from where we bought it back to our marina. And my old Flybridge cruiser that I had would have been $550 in fuel, and this cost us $97 in fuel. So from the whole economical standpoint, it's absolutely phenomenal. So that's kind of what made us want to switch.
Mind you, we didn't know that was going to happen necessarily.
No, we
know it
didn't.
was gonna be that
That
great.
wasn't our first intention. Wasn't for that, but kind of became a
Everything
bonus.
just fell into place once we got it. It was good. Good decision. So
And then another thing that I think made us wanted to switch is on Heyman Thanks. It was a single helm seat.
Yes.
So Lex, most of the time when we were underway, would be facing behind us, and she didn't love that. So
No, I hated that. I wouldn't get to see the view, like the way that Heyman Thanks was laid out. He would sit in the helm seat facing the front where you're headed, and then I would be looking at the back, which was nice sometimes, but I didn't have that option to comfortably sit and face the front view, and I felt like I was kind of out of it, which kind of sucked. So yes,
and
this
cruising
has
at 30
the
miles an hour in Georgian Bay, where there's a million things to see.
Yeah, you don't blink. Like if you blink, you miss it, kind of thing. So you gotta. It wasn't very comfortable. So, Paradiso has the double, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's got a double helm seat, so we can sit there and sit together and watch the scenery go by.
Sorry. Anyway, yes, okay. On to the next question. We have two questions. Is it Chris Bitten? I don't know. BITTO, and we're going to put your username here. Thank you for your questions.
You asked two? You only get one.
No. So the first question he asked is, where do you buy your boat parts?
I would say probably 95% of our boat parts we buy from the marina. You know, kind of support our local place that we keep the boat.
Or any, like, just main local marinas.
Or a couple other ones in the area. So we obviously boat at a Y Heritage Marina in Midland. You know, so we buy a lot of stuff from them. We also buy from Central Marine in Midland as well.
Yeah.
A
few in,
you know, Bayport.
Time we've gone to Penetang too.
Yeah, Bayport Yachting Center we bought in Midland. So we kind of try to keep it in the area. Other than that, we do buy a lot of stuff online, whether it be Amazon or you know, we bought our solar setup for Heyman Thanks. Was from I think it's called Suntech Solar.
Suntech Solar in Barrie.
Yeah, they're in Barrie. They have
somewhat local though. Like, we try and keep it local.
Yeah, try to, you know, and then one of the things is we don't want to drive 2 hours the opposite way to buy something, and then if you have a problem with it, you know, and we're in Midland and we bought something out of you know, say Grand Bend area.
No,
you know,
then
it's the
whole thing, yeah.
So we buy most of our boat parts as local as possible to where we keep the boat. It just makes it a lot more convenient.
I'd say more of our boating gadgets.
Gadgets we'll buy online.
Is what it's all online.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're talking like simply boating parts, I don't think we purchase any sort of boating part on Amazon.
But the biggest bulk of the boat parts actually come from the LCBO.
Oh, true. That is true. That is the truth, yeah. And then his second question was bottom paint, yes or no? I'll let you go and answer that one.
Well, you want to feel that question, Nick? I've always bottom painted the boat. To be honest, I've never really researched the pros and cons of it. You know, I do look at it as there is a level of protection between, you know, the hull and the water.
You know, we're not a high performance boat. We're not looking to, you know, try to squeeze every little bit of extra fuel economy or speed out of the boats. So, you know, if it provides a little bit extra resistance, I'm not even sure. You know, we've always so
I don't know where we're referring to.
I've always had the boat bottom painted. I like to, you know, make sure it's always touched up and, you know, at least in good condition.
Is that like that wrap you want to do?
No, that's the black paint on the bottom of the boat.
Oh.
Instead of it being,
then yes.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
Oh, okay. Well then.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're debating it, you know, Lex said yes. So
yeah. Why not? I don't know the pros and cons of it, but you know, we've always had it. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and we also keep our boat in the water for, you know, 5 or 6 months as long as we possibly can. So I do believe it probably provides some level of protection.
What about in salt water? Or does that completely change the game?
No, I still think a lot of people
would do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless they keep it on a lift. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Our next question comes from Stevens06. Again, I will put your username here. And the question is, there's two actually. How will you be mounting the dinghy on the new boat, and will you be upgrading your dinghy?
Okay, great questions.
Mounting the dinghy on our boat. So in Heyman Thanks, we had the davits. We would just pull it up, kind of a pain in the ass, but it worked because we were going so fast that towing was not an option.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of been on the fence
we've
for
actually debated
both
this
options.
Yeah.
Because we're moving at a lot of a slower pace, we do want to tow it. It's easier, right?
Yeah, I think what it'll come down to is
probably big trips. You know, if we're not moving far in a day, we'll probably just flat tow.
Yeah, if you're just going from one spot to another spot. But I'm thinking if maybe on the days that we're going for a while, which during our North Channel trip will be that. I don't know if towing is the best option because it affects our fuel economy.
It could affect the fuel economy a little bit. So I think, on longer cruising days, we will probably mount it on davits. On our new boat, there is some davits, so we'll just have to have the pads placed on our current dinghy in the proper spot. So that's not going to be too big of a deal. You know, and then on days that, you know, like when we're up in the North Channel, if we're cruising from, you know, say Covered Portage Cove to Bay Fin, we'll flat tow it because, to be honest, I don't want to be the one that has to muscle the motor off the back of the dinghy all the
Yeah,
time.
that was one big thing that I luckily did not have to take part of, but I did feel bad for you because taking the motor off the dinghy, putting it onto the boat, strapping it, like it was like an additional step that you had to take before heading out from one English to the other, and it's just kind of just a pain. So I think in the end we'll probably
plateau, yeah. And even even on a regular weekend, if we I'll probably keep the dinghy on the davits during the week when we're not at the boat, just so we don't have to cover it.
True.
Keeps the rain out of it.
Yeah.
So then on a Friday night, or sorry, I guess a Thursday night, typically off Fridays, when we get up to the boat, if we drop the dinghy in the water and do a little sunset cruise or something like that, then we'll just flat tow it out to the anchorage or flat tow it back if that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then the second part of the question.
Oh yes. As for upgrading the dinghy,
absolutely.
I would like to. Yeah. We have what's the brand?
Right now is Highfield.
We have a Highfield dinghy. It's not bad. It's comfortable. I would know. But I would really like a console dinghy. You've had one in your past, which we've talked about before on videos. I would really like one. We had a few friends from this past summer who had the console dinghy, and I was in love with it. So I think yes. Will it be this season? Maybe not. I think our Highfield is in still pretty good shape, but we'll see. We'll kind of see where it takes us.
Unless Highfield or Gala or Zodiac or somebody wants to sponsor us with a dinghy, then we'll definitely
take a dinghy. Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, no, I think we will look at upgrading to a console dinghy again, and then at that point, then we will just strictly be flat towing.
Oh, absolutely. So. Yeah. Our next question comes from, I really hope I'm not going to completely butcher this name, Melanie Learmonth. Again, I'm so sorry for butchered her name. Her question is, plans for any trips for 2021, and will you be adding your solar onto Paradiso? Do you want me to take this one?
Yeah, 2021.
So for our trips that are planned for the summer of 2021, the North Channel again, of course. Last season for 2020, we did the North Channel for 3.5 weeks or so. This summer, we are planning to take the whole month, which is amazing. And then we usually do 1 week off in June, roughly around my birthday, because that's in the beginning of June. And then we will usually take about a week off in September for like our last hoorah, basically, of the season. But aside from that, I don't know what our plans are for those weeks. We kind of just wing it.
Yeah, it kind of depends on weather and where we can end up.
I know last season we did a week trip and we went to Henry's and we did the Massasauga, and that was amazing. I would love to do that again.
If you check out our Canada Day, I think.
Yes,
Canada Day videos,
that was that week. We did 2 weeks.
No, it was 1 week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. It was just 1 week. And then usually, what did we do in September this past season?
Sold the boat.
That's right. Really depressing. But yes, we did sell the boat. So we didn't actually get our but we were off, so it was a little bit different. But it kind of just depends. We usually stay in the area. I really would like to try and make it to
Friday Harbor.
Yes, that is somewhere I would love to go. Could we make it in a week on our slow boat?
Yeah,
really? Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would like to. Or we were also talking about I don't know if we would incorporate this into our North Channel, but I really want to make it to Tobermory. We've talked about this.
Yeah, Tobermory would be a great option. We just have to have the right weather.
Right weather.
Because we are shooting straight across Ocean Bay. So.
Yeah. So we have a few things that we would like to do. We'll kind of see where it takes us, but our North Channel trip is definitely in the books for this season again, because that's not too many times seen about it way too much. Yeah. Oh, and the Trans-Severn. We want to do that too.
Well, that'll take us to Friday Harbor, right?
Oh. Yes, so we want to do that as well. And then will you be adding the solar onto Paradiso? So did we sell the solar, or did we keep it?
So the solar,
the original solar that we purchased.
We sold with Hey Man Thanks.
Right.
Paradiso came with 200 watts of solar, and it came with an MPPT charge controller, but an older one. So I think what we're doing this year is we're going to add one more 110 watt flexible panel. So we'll have a total of 330 watts or so, 310 watts. I'm not even sure what the ones on it now, if they're 100 or 110. But yeah, so we'll have anywhere from 310 to 330 watts of solar, and we're gonna add just a newer MPPT charge controller.
We're gonna add a new one.
Yeah, I think we'll just add a
It's news to me.
newer controller. Surprise! Merry Christmas.
You know, I can't say I love the controller that we have in Parody. It's a little dated.
It's a little dated, but
and
also
hard to use. I loved the controller we have in Heyman Things. So easy to read, super easy to
yeah,
use.
you had a much better idea of what was going into the batteries, even though we do have a Victron battery monitor on it. I just knew the old setup so well, and for the price of a charge controller, I don't know what they're maybe $150. I think we'll just swap out to a new one and just make our life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely solar is going to be the way to go.
Cool. Okay, now we're going in. I put like one post probably a week ago when we said we were going to originally film this, and then I put another one. So we had a few last minute questions. So coming from Cruising Georgian Bay, the question is, how has it been adjusting to a trawler? So this we should have asked this in a better order. Anyway, how has it been for you?
For me, it's been a dream come true. I've always wanted a trawler, but I mean, I would say for me, it's not been as big of adjustment because I came out of a Carver that I was running for 5 seasons that I would typically run. I'd run it like a trawler. And I'd run at about 8 knots, 8.5 knots with that.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a huge adjustment in that sense for me.
You're used to cruising at 25, 27 knots.
Yeah, so I only have Heyman Thanks to compare to, so we're moving a lot faster in Heyman Thanks, which was our previous boat. This boat, I have been pros and cons. When we did our first travels, we were up top on the bridge of the boat.
Bringing the boat back from
Brit.
From Brit, it took us 2 days. So day 1 we were on the bridge.
And that day, you're moving a lot slower. I thought, I had my moments. I was okay. It was a little rough. So I found that when you're up higher, we were kind of moving around a lot more. And the fact that we weren't going fast, it wasn't something to adjust to quickly. You were moving a lot slower. And it was a little hard for me to adjust for the first little bit. I have to admit.
We were taking the waves, though, on our starboard stern quarter.
Yeah, so it was definitely...
So it definitely rolled us a little more.
And it wasn't a following sea, which we found that...
Well, that is a following sea.
Oh, shit. Sorry. I thought that was... But there was times where we weren't following the sea and it was rough. I thought the following the sea was okay.
No, that's what it's coming back.
Oh, okay, never mind. So... so yeah, that aspect of it did kind of roll you around a lot more, so I didn't love that. Aside from that, adjusting to it has been amazing. You're moving a lot slower. Maybe we can put in some photos from our trip back here. I was making grilled cheese for us underway. We played some music. I took a nap, which was great. It's completely different. And the second day, because it was a little bit more rainy and
it was
cool
rainy
outside,
and cool.
We were inside because we have helm at the bottom, helm at the top. The helm at the bottom we're still gonna we need to get a chair for because you stood.
I stood for
a long time.
for 8 hours.
But it was really comfortable, really cozy. More, we had the heat going. We had our generator out back. It was great. It was honestly a very comfortable thing. So I love the trawler. There's so much space and you have more flexibility. The adjustment was totally fine. It was totally fine, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next question comes from Heather D. Gallant, asking us, what kind of camera or GoPros do you use?
Okay, so when you typically see most of our, hyperlapse, so the front of our boat when we're cruising through scenery,
or underwater shots.
Yeah, it's typically an DJI Osmo Action.
Which is this camera?
Yeah.
Wave?
Yeah, this camera here.
Wave. Okay.
Yeah.
And then when we do more of our vlog style, when we're sitting there talking to you guys, giving you guys updates, we're using the DJI
Pocket.
Yeah,
which is this one here. Yeah.
They're both great, and then our occasional clips we might put in a little bit of iPhone footage, which is rare, but sometimes. And then we also like to use our drone. Yeah, you like to use. Yeah. I'm too scared to drive it, but
the DJI Mavic Mini. They now have a Mini 2, so if you are looking for one, definitely go with the Mini 2. The Mavic Mini is awesome, but just go for the newer one.
Yeah. So we use all DJI products. Shout out to DJI if you want to sponsor us, But yeah, it's they're great cameras. We've had good luck with them. They're smooth shots, just everything's good. So
Yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't change it. We were thinking about a GoPro. We were thinking about a GoPro.
We thought about doing
but
a
the
GoPro.
Osmo Action is very similar too, and to be honest, I think we
and
really liked the GoPro
the,
or the Osmo better.
The stability on the Osmo Action is absolutely awesome.
Well, all the Osmo, they all have like
Yeah.
amazing stability, so
Yeah.
it makes the camera quality a lot better.
Yeah.
But anyway, there you go. Our next question comes from Pistol PT. Asking us what got us into cruising. So we've definitely touched on this question in depth on our very first video, which maybe we link in our description of this video.
I don't know how to do that, but just check our first video.
No, I will link it. It'll be linked in the description if you want to click that and get the in-depth answer. But you can just to summarize why you got into cruising.
Basically, it all kind of started, I guess, when I was a kid. Just cottaging and this and that, being around boats. It just, I guess, somewhere was in my blood. Watching. We had a trailer up on Rice Lake, and seeing the first time I ever saw like a big cruising boat traveling. Really impressed me, and then from then on out, watching Powerboat Television, which is a show that's on every, I think it's Saturday morning on Global at 11 o'clock. So shout out to them. Watching that as a kid growing up, they used to do a lot of cruising features, and they still do a lot of cruising features. So even if you're not a powerboat, if you're a sailboat, just seeing their show for the cruising features alone, that's 100% what got me into it. And then I think our first kind of big date was you came up to the boat and
spent
the weekend. And
that's what kind of got me personally into cruising, was meeting him. Mind you, I then started to learn that like a big side of my family have had boats. I just never really knew about it.
Yeah, she never even knew that.
So it's kind of in my blood, and I love it. And when I was younger, I would go on, like we've been on like little like daytime cruises and stuff like that, and I hated them. I literally hated them as a kid. It was terrible. I was so seasick all the time. And I had really bad experience, so maybe that's why my brain just was like, nope, like not interested in boating. And then I met you, and it is like my favorite thing in the world, and I wouldn't change it for a thing. So yeah, that's but if you want more in depth of like how it kind of got it, well, his long story,
my history,
definitely check out our first video. Our next question comes from Mike Poole. Where is our first trip together going to be in 2021?
So Mike, our first trip together in 2021, to be honest, I don't think we have any idea.
No, we really don't.
Where it's going to be, because
we don't have any plans right now.
Yeah, we kind of pick. We usually pick our bay, I guess, weather dependent.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest, I don't care where it is, as long as the music is loud, the drinks are flowing, and we're all having a good time.
Yeah. For sure.
We always have a great time with you guys. If anybody is watching this right now, I think on our Instagram we've posted some pictures of Indian Harbor, and we were linked up with 5 or 6 other boats.
Yes, that was like
Mike was one of the boats in that.
Mm-hmm.
Mike and Alicia, amongst a whole bunch of other people. So we always have a great time.
Sometimes we have too good of a time.
So where are we going to go for our first trip in 2021? I don't care, as long as we're having a good time, which I don't think will be a problem.
Yeah, for sure. And then the last few questions have been asked to be left anonymous on the video, but we are still going to answer them. So the first anonymous question is, what is our funniest memory of the 2020 boating season?
Oh God, our funniest memory from the 2020 boating season.
You tell yours and I'll see if I agree with you or if I have a different one.
There was a lot of funny memories in 2020, but I'd have to say, for me, the funniest memory, I don't know if we should be saying this on video or not.
Maybe we just summarize it. So I feel like any of them that you're going to say is just not.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Lex earlier in the video made a comment about our dinghy and how she knew how comfortable our current dinghy is, and that's because she did have a night where she was on this outstanding boat and maybe had one too many drinks and kind of slept in the dinghy.
Just kind of.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was like May.
Yeah.
Really cold. He leaves me in the dinghy, just
Yeah.
So you
So that
know,
was probably my funniest memory.
that was.
What about yours?
I would say that was funny for sure, except that I was in a lot of pain the next morning and wasn't so funny the next morning. I would probably say, and I don't want to get into too much detail on this story either. But hey, maybe we do like a totally different video on the story, as long as everyone who is involved in the story is like comfortable with us telling our viewers. The weekend that we had my parents up,
Yeah. Well, that's, yeah.
we were that was quite funny. We picked my parents up from Honey Harbor, obviously with our little dinghy and all of their stuff. It ended not in the best way, you know.
It ended
A couple
up with
people may have been in the water because the dinghy almost flipped, but you know what? At the end of the day, it was a great time.
Yeah.
It also ended with my poor mom drinking too much. But you know what? It was a great weekend. That was
Yeah,
a
it was a
great
good
time.
weekend. It
So
was a
that
good
was
weekend.
definitely a fun. The next anonymous question is, what was our favorite memory from the past 2020 season?
So my favorite memory from the 2020 boating season would probably have to be entering Killarney Channel. You know, taking the ride up the eastern side of Georgian Bay and then over to Killarney. For some reason, just when you enter Killarney Channel and pass the lighthouse, there's just something about it that always, you know, just makes me feel like I'm back home, you know, in some strange kind of way. So for me, that's probably my favorite memory from the 2020 season, is entering into Killarney and, you know, knowing that we've made it to the North Channel again, and you know, it's just gonna be a great trip. So
I would say that my favorite part of the summer was the North Channel as a whole. This past 2020 season was the first time that I got to experience the North Channel, and I fell in love with all of it. The Killarney Mountain Lodge definitely was what really started my excitement, because like if anyone has ever been, you know, like the Carousel Lounge is gorgeous. Everything about the Killarney Mountain Lodge is beautiful, and then all of the anchorages past Killarney Mountain Lodge are just absolutely breathtaking. I would also say, if I were to really get down in specific, I think my favorite memory, or one of my favorite memories, were when we were in the pool in Bay Fin for the North Channel. We spent the entire day blasting a really fun playlist we put together in Cover Portage, mixing drinks, sun tanning, just having a great time. We made a good dinner, and then we sat and stargazed listening to Pink Floyd, and it was amazing. And that was a really awesome memory, and just the stars out there were amazing. The amount of shooting stars that you saw was like, it's just incredible. Like, you really can't, you couldn't, like, I wanted to capture parts of that night, but you just really couldn't. Like, it was just, so that would be my favorite.
And sometimes you'll probably notice, I mean, as you're saying, you wanted to capture parts of that night. You'll probably notice, if you're following our vlogs and stuff on YouTube, that there's a lot of times where, you know, necessarily we don't post or
Film,
you know, we're not
or we
filming.
kind of suck for a few
And
days.
it's because, honestly, like, there's just points in a trip where, you know, you just want to live it, you just want to experience it, and you don't want to have the camera on you the whole time, or you know, be behind the camera. And, you know, that's one of those times where you just want to be there in the moment.
Yeah,
so,
it was great.
you know, I wish we could show you guys, but the other option is, you know, jump in your boat and come up to the North Channel.
Yeah, come on, just follow us on up. Another question that we had was, what is our favorite drink to have on the boat, and our favorite meal to make or have on the boat?
okay, so let's each answer this then. My favorite drink on the boat probably is wine. Honestly, it's always my go-to. It seems to be what ends off every night, you know. Pretty much clockwork, dinner comes, wine comes out. So yeah, I'd say that's definitely my favorite. My favorite meal on the boat, hands down, steak, asparagus, and a baked potato. You know, you just can't go wrong with
So
that.
good. So good.
So yeah, I guess you can probably agree with me on the meal. What's your
I would
favorite?
probably agree with the meal. I also have fallen in love with our garlic toast that we started making halfway through the season. We honestly mastered that, so that's delicious. And then I would say, for my favorite beverage, wine is definitely, I love wine all the time, every day, all day. Don't really care. But I would also like to say that I think a rye and ginger is a go-to of mine, or our rum punch. No, that's a long list of drinks I actually like. I really like Ryan Gingers because that brings me back to our first season together. Because we would go to the boat every night. It was like a couple Ryan Gingers, and then we'd like go to bed, and then whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I love our Ryan Gingers, and that's just one of my go-to drinks all the time. I really liked our rum punches, and I really liked Iron Butterflies.
Well, that's right. Iron Butterflies were definitely a good drink.
Yeah. So I would say those two were some of my favorites.
Yeah.
And then the last two questions that we have to finish off our video are: what are our future goals and plans with the boat? And what is our dream destination to go with the boat, or dream destination to go just in general? Like, obviously on a boat, whether it's this one or a different one.
Future plans?
Some stuff I don't want to talk about really. I just want to kind of do it and, get people's reactions to it. But overall, with Paradiso anyway, I think we just mainly want to maintain it, and we love the layout of it. We love the way it looks. So probably get it waxed for this season, and have it looking as good as possible.
Yeah.
Possibly add a bow thruster, maybe a stern thruster eventually. That's about it, I think.
I think we're planning on sticking with Paradiso for a while and just kind of making it more of our own and adding a few little things here and there. Yeah. So I think that's what our future plans with it are, and just to continue to do our summer trips and go to the North Channel and just enjoy that. As for a dream destination to go, what's your dream destination to go on a boat? Like, if you were to like travel the world with a boat, where would you want to? What's your dream destination?
Travel the world would be definitely it, but I think our realistic dream destination, it's probably going to take us some time to get there. But we want to do the loop.
Yes.
Hands down. We want to eventually, if we could find careers where we could work from the boat, that would
my
be,
business
that'd be
takes off
fantastic.
anytime soon. That would be good too.
Yeah, if we could get something going where we could, work from a computer. If you guys don't know, what I do, I'm a hairdresser, so that kind of makes it a lot harder to work from the boat. But if eventually we could have a career shift in the future, before retirement, and we could do the loop, great. And if it has to be after retirement, then so be it. But that is the absolute, for me, one of the biggest dreams is to do the loop. And I don't want to do the loop once. I want to spend a few years
absolutely,
and do it over and over and over again.
Just live that lifestyle.
And just kind of chase the summer weather. Down south for the winter, up here in the North Channel and the Georgian Bay for the summer. That's kind of my dream.
I would definitely agree. That's a huge dream of mine. I would also say that if we ever decided, I don't know if I should be saying this, but if we ever decided to switch over to a sailboat,
it's possible.
You never know. That opens a lot of doors for us traveling wise. Like, where was it that we were talking about the other day that I was like, oh, I would love to go? Was it Europe?
I mean,
or anything like that would be amazing, especially on a boat. I think I would travel the world regardless if it was on a boat or not, but I think being on the boat would just make it 20,000 times better. So, but yeah, the loop, realistically speaking, something that I could actually see us doing sooner than later, hopefully. Yeah. Eventually, would definitely be the loop, or if we ever switch over to a sailboat, something different. So, we actually had one more question. Basically, asking again about our solar setup, and this was from Cruising Jackson Rose. Definitely check them out on
he's
YouTube.
On YouTube.
They have a YouTube channel, so that's great content, honestly. They're just asking about our setup, which we kind of touched on in the beginning of the video, where we did have a different setup. Which, did we not do a solar video on our Instagram?
I think on our Instagram there's a very windy sounding solar video. There's lots of wind noise
from Hey-Man, thanks. Yeah. Maybe we will do a separate updated solar update video for you guys if you guys would be interested in that for Paradiso. And
if you are looking at a solar setup, we bought the Suntech solar setup from
that one's great.
From I think it's Suntech, or I'm trying to think of the name of Barry. So with our solar, we actually bought it from, I think it's Suntech Solar out of Barrie. If that's not the right name, I will try to look up the name for the company and maybe write it in our description here, right?
Sorry.
She's had a case of the laughs for the last 10 minutes, which is why she's still laughing. We just kind of edited it out so you guys didn't have to see it.
So our solar setup was an extremely easy setup on Heyman Thanks. It was 210 watt panels, flexible panels that were mounted to the canvas top with magnets. Then you just run the wiring down. It's been like 10 or 15 minutes of that. So then we just run the wiring down to the charge controller and then to the batteries. So it's a pretty simple setup.
You did it like in how many hours that day? Like it was.
Well, it probably took me longer than it should take a professional.
But you're not like.
But I'm a hairdresser, not a friggin'.
Right. I was up there holding towels over the solar panels.
Yeah.
It was good. Like it was easy.
Yeah, it was a simple.
It worked
setup.
great.
So if you are looking for solar, it did power Heyman Thanks to the point where when we were away for, I think it was 26 days in the North Channel, we needed a generator 2 days because it rained for 2 days.
Yeah.
So out of 26 days, that's all we need is run a generator. So it is an absolutely phenomenal setup. If you're thinking about it, highly recommend it.
Yeah. But like I said, if you guys are interested in learning more about our other solar panels, we could potentially
we'll probably do an
version.
update. Yeah.
Once we kind of get more of a feel for it as well, we haven't had that boat up because we bought it towards the end of the season, so we haven't really gotten a full feel for that solar setup. But once, maybe once we get our new charge controller and all that fun stuff, we could do an update.
It's almost an identical solar setup, to be honest. It's on Parity, so it's 200 watts, which is about the same wattage that we had.
I think one of the biggest differences is that
it's just an older setup.
It's a little bit older. It's sewn into the canvas, which is nice. It's super secure.
Yeah, it's stitched.
Mind you, the magnets that we had for Heyman Thanks, which was also very secure as well. Just and I don't know a lot of backstory on how easy that one was to set up and all that, but like I said, we can definitely answer some more questions once we get a better feel for our update.
But if you're thinking of solar, honestly, you won't regret it.
Yes.
We had some friends that after seeing our solar setup on Heyman Thanks, they put it on their Durell. They have a 36-foot Durell, so I think he put 310 panels on it, so 330 watts on a 36 Durell that has a full-size fridge freezer, and I believe it powered his boat absolutely no problem. So.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make that face. I was just trying to think of who it was, but I got it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely recommend solar. And like I said, if you wanted some more of those questions answered, we do have a video on our Instagram that we had posted a few months back. I don't know where it ended up, if it was like on our, what do you call it?
It's on, I think it's in our highlights on Instagram.
Yeah, like our highlights or something. But yeah, that's about it. That concludes our Q&A for tonight.
If you guys ever have any other questions, feel free just to shoot us a DM on Instagram.
Absolutely. I'm sure we'll do another one of these too.
Or a message on YouTube, whatever it is. We're always happy to talk boating stuff or whatever else. Don't ever hesitate to reach out, and that's about it.
And then if you want to be featured in any sort of future videos that we have you guys engaging on with us. Anyway. Definitely follow us on Instagram, like we said, at Cruising with Paul and Lex. We'll also, we will link our very first video down in the subscription box below as well. We will link, we can link a few of our questions. They also have YouTubes. I think the Hoppy Hour have a YouTube. Cruising Jackson Rose has a YouTube. So we will also link their channels down below, which is a great content as well. For sure. But aside from that, we hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope all your questions were answered okay. And we'll
hopefully see you on the water.
Hope to see you on the water soon. Cheers your shit.
Cheers your shit.
Bye.